So Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka down at Bristol. And, unfortunately, as predicted, there wasn't much play down on Monday, West Indies match against South Africa. I still managed to bag a win, though, on one of the performances. Just 7.3 overs were bowled, but Sheldon Cottrell bagged a couple of wickets to win that performance there. The rest of the bets that we advised were void. And, it's a similar sort of position for the rest of the week. Like I mentioned yesterday, the forecast isn't very good. Bristol weather it's pretty poor overall. There's a chance in the afternoon there might be some rain that doesn't particularly drain very well there. Are you optimistic for any play at all of this match?
Yeah, a little bit more, Steve. More optimistic than I was on Monday. That's for sure. First thing we should say is well done on that win. The reasoning, the thought process behind it, and everything that went into it is exactly why you'll find the best bets on this tournament in this podcast. So, congratulations on that. That was really well thought out and well delivered. I think we'll get some play. I think part of the problem is that there's been so much rain on Monday that there could be a little bit of a few puddles and things like that. But to be fair, we haven't had an awful lot of rain in this country for an awful long time, so the water table is still relatively low. So I think it'd be a fair bit of drainage and stuff. So I'm pretty confident. There are spells in the day where rain isn't due to fall. So hopefully the umpires are on ball and they get them out onto the pitch, because both sides need to play and need to win this game.
And Bristol really needs a piece of the action, because it would be the second rained off game. I don't think they're scheduled to have any more matches. Maybe one more maximum, but it's terrible news for Bristol, obviously. They've certainly drawn the short straw there. So Bangladesh against Sri Lanka, interesting matchup. The bookies have Bangladesh the favourites here, but their talisman, Shakib Al Hasan, is a doubtful here with injury. Do you think he's going to suit up, and it might be a case he just bats?
Yeah, probably. I'd be surprised if he doesn't play. I don't know. I can't believe that it's that bad. I mean, I didn't see him struggling to run or anything against England when he scored that century last time out. So I think he'll be fine. I just think that all these noises are a precaution more than anything. I mean, they've got Sabir Rahman who can come in and do a similar role, haven't they, if needed, but the form Shakib's in, I'm sure they'll patch him up and get him out, particularly if it's a delayed start and he's got a few extra hours to get himself in the right frame of mind.
And Sri Lanka have got an injury concern of their own. Pradeep, who did well in the last game, didn't he? He's actually ruled out of the match.
He is, yeah, injured with a hand injury. That's a big blow for them. Although I haven't said that. They've probably got enough seamers to cope with that. But like you say, he was brilliant against Afghanistan. It'll be interesting to see if they play another seamer or bolster their batting. Wouldn't take a lot to bolster their batting, would it? So be interesting. There is talk that Jivan Mendes will replace him, but with all the rain around, whether they want a leg spinner operating, I'm not sure. Not going to be too much spin bowled by Sri Lanka in this game, I wouldn't have thought.
We've got to presume that if there is a result here, it will be a reduced overs game. Probably 35 overs max, you would think, in this sort of environment. If not less, it could be maybe a 20-20 even. So, I mean, how do you see that one going based on that sort of prediction with the overs? Who's better in the shorter format of the game?
They're probably fairly even, to be honest. I would say it's a stronger format for Sri Lanka. As I said earlier in the tournament, when their bowlers don't have to bowl 10 overs a spell, it certainly helps. But I guess after being carted by England, you could say the same about Bangladesh, couldn't you? There's a couple of bowlers that they were carrying in the field, over that 50 overs. So if they only have to bowl half their allotment, it'd be better for them. So, probably no one's really advantaged by that. The one thing you would say is Bangladesh have a serious amount more batting depth, which in 20 over game should allow them to bat with a lot more freedom. So maybe that gives them the edge. But other than that, I don't see either side being completely different to how this matchup would have been in a 50 over game.
All right, well, you're going with a pick here. First 10 overs, Bangladesh, highest first 10 overs at Boyle Sports, 1.91. So basically, they've got to score more runs than Sri Lanka in the first 10 overs for this bet to win. So even if it is just a T20, then the bet will obviously be standing. So you obviously think that the Bangladesh have got more firepower early doors then, Kev?
Yeah, and I think they're a better side. I think they'll win the game. It's just how to get on side with Bangladesh to win the game without risking being on the wrong side of the toss or anything like that. I think this is the way to do it, really. If you look at Karunaratne, Sri Lanka's captain, he's currently going at a 66 strike rate for the tournament, or 63 strike rate for the tournament, sorry, which means if he faces 100 balls, he'll get 63 runs. So if you want to curtail that slightly more, if he faces 30 balls, he's only going to be getting 18 runs. So someone's going to have to go mental at the other end to put up a sizable 10 over score. Now, Pereira has been doing that against New Zealand and Afghanistan. But his record against Bangladesh is average. 4 of his last 5 innings, he hasn't gone past 11. So if Bangladesh can get rid of him early, there's absolutely no one else in this batting lineup that's in any form whatsoever. So I don't expect anyone to be coming in and teeing off from the start. They're all going to have to play themselves in just so that they can feel bat on ball again, particularly as they've not played for 6 days as well. That's not the way that Bangladesh go about their business, is it? You've mentioned a few times about how their openers like to get on with things. That's not going to change. They don't change their game to conditions. They just play like they do because of their batting depth, and that's fine. And obviously, if Shakib does play, he'll come in at 3 and he'll get on with it as well. Mushfiqur will bat 3 if Shakib doesn't play. So, he likes to get on with it too. I guess the fly in the ointment's Malinga, but he hasn't really bowled a decent new ball spell yet, has he? His best efforts have come at the death of the innings against Afghanistan. He was ordinary at best against New Zealand. He wasn't all that good against Afghanistan. He wasn't that threatening. It was only when he started spearing them Yorkers in late on that he did anything. In fact, Afghanistan were fine with the bat, weren't they? Until Pradeep came in and shot them out. Well, he's not going to be doing that here. So no need to worry on that score. Bangladesh will probably bowl a spinner in the power play, which will slow things up even more for Sri Lanka. I just think the two styles of the two sides, particularly with Karunaratne in that Sri Lanka opening berth, I just think the natural aggression of Bangladesh will see them through the first 10 overs. Unlike the other day when we failed with New Zealand, there isn't a blocker coming in at 3. They're going to keep on going. So I think they'll lead through 10 overs, and I think that 10 to 11 is a decent bet.
We mentioned before on this podcast, Isuru Udana, you're backing him again to be top Sri Lankan batsman. This time he's as big as 100 to 1 with Boyle's Sports. So maybe this is the day that he actually gets a few on the board. Probably, I mean, if it's a short format, then he might, obviously it's probably maybe less for him to chase potentially.
Possibly less to chase. Possibly he might go up the order. I mentioned right from the start, since we've been backing him, that he scored that 84 not out against South Africa. That was in a T20 game, so he doesn't need to go up the order or down the order or anything like that. He can still score from where he is. The interesting thing, Steve, is apart from the 2 openers, nobody's got more than 30 runs in the tournament for Sri Lanka, and they've played 2 games. So if the 2 openers do disappear early, or they're contained a little bit, then there's no form anywhere else in this batting lineup. I've just mentioned that he scored 84 against South Africa. He did actually look all right against Afghanistan, didn't he? He clobbered a huge 6 down in Cardiff, and then he played one of the loosest shots you're ever going to see. But he's a tail ender. That's what you're going to expect. If you look at what Wokes and Plunkett did to the Bangladesh bowlers towards the death against them on Saturday, if Udana's coming in and facing the same sort of bowlers at the same sort of time at the innings, there's no reason really why he can't tee off. So if he's chasing a low score, he's perfectly capable of getting it. I mean, we've seen that he is an out-and-out slogger, so you're probably going to have your eyes shut if you think you've got a chance of winning this bet whilst he's at the crease. But at 100 to 1, we can certainly afford to pay and find out what happens.
And that's at Boyle Sports. So if he gets a 50 and he doesn't top score, you'll get your money back. The free bet.
You will indeed, yep, absolutely.
Pretty annoyed if he got a 50 and he didn't top score in this game. But
certainly would, yeah.
But there is the little bit of a...
It's a nice comeback. I forgot about that, actually. Well remembered.
So there's a couple of bets here in that game. I'm sticking with the performance markets. And again, I'll repeat what I said yesterday. These are all at Bet365. The rules state that the match must be at least 40 overs each. Otherwise, the bet is void unless the settlement of the bet is already determined. So basically, if you're backing someone on an over and it comes in before the abandonment comes, you actually win, just like yesterday with Sheldon Cotterill. Otherwise, it's going to be void unless it's 40 overs each. I cannot see this being a 40 over game each way. If it is, then the forecast is well and truly wrong. So there's a very high chance that even if the player doesn't do very well, you will get voided. Nevertheless, there's a couple I would have taken anyway, even if this were a 50 over match, and they're going to be Lasith Malinga over 32.5 performance points and Sumia Sharka over 33.5 performance points. Malinga, most of his wickets have been coming at the death, I must say. So, I certainly wouldn't mind this being a T20. And, you probably get a couple of wickets there. People trying to slug, at the end of the innings, slog him away. And Saka, I was gutted to miss out on him in the last game by 5 points. And I'm convinced that his next innings, whenever it may be, is going to be a big one. So I'm going to stick with this Saka. I said he was due a low score and unfortunately got one, didn't he? But apart from that, he's been doing very well recently. You could certainly look at Lakmal as well if you're after another performance. 26.5 for Sri Lanka. He can't buy a wicket for love nor money, can he? But, with Pradeep out of the lineup, maybe there's a bit more responsibility on him. Just takes a caught on a bowl, doesn't it? He may well open the bowling here. I don't know. You just never know. Something comes back to him. You can be winning in the space of one ball, can't you? So, Lakmal's another one worth looking at. I say the way I see it, it's fairly risk-free. Whatever, if you fancy someone to go over, then take it at Bet365 because I just don't see there being a good chance of being 40 overs aside, personally, Kev. Yes,
fair enough. It's exactly what you said yesterday. Worked out yesterday, and that's perfect. The only thing I would say is if it's a 20 over game from the start, they'll be voided before bets play. So even if Malinga does take 2 overs in a game that's only 20 overs to start off with, that will be voided. But if the game starts as a 40 over game and then gets reduced after it started, then Steve's absolutely right. All bets will stand, regardless of when he gets the wickets.
Yeah, that's the thing with this. Luckily, the Cotterill winner, the match was still 50 overs aside at that point in time, and I'm a bit concerned that they won't get on before the reduction takes place. In which case, everything's voided anyway in the performance bet. So, so be it. But you just never know if they do get on early and performances, wickets are taken early doors. It's the way I see it, it's a free bet almost in some respects. Some selections to get stuck into there. Hopefully, there'll be some decent amount of action in play. And we'll be back to preview Wednesday's match at Taunton, Australia, Pakistan, I do believe it is.
That's the one, Steve, yeah.
Yeah, okay then. Well, good luck with your picks there, Kev, and we'll speak to you very soon.
Cheers, mate. All the best.
Cheers.